I'm talking with Sergeant Kevin Allen from the Portland Police Bureau about a shooting and an assault that happened last night at Southwest 12th or Southwest 14th and Taylor. So tell me a little bit about what you know and what is happening with all of that investigation.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. This all started just after midnight, right down at Southwest 14th and Taylor. A sergeant from Central Precinct was on her way to another call, happened to be in that area and started getting flagged down. Turned out that she had literally come up upon a robbery that was taking place right there at the corner. The two suspects in the case ran off, and the sergeant was able to see and get a description out on the radio of what she was seeing, what was happening, and let other officers know that the suspects were running away. That enabled other officers to quickly get in the area. And within 4 or 5 minutes, they were able to get two people into custody, one of which was confirmed to be involved. The other one was not, was later released. At the same time, this sergeant was getting this information out on the radio. She was also figuring out what was going on, interviewing the folks that were there, and addressing the injuries. The adult male that was shot in the leg, he was bleeding pretty bad. There was some concern about his welfare because of the wound, and so the sergeant was able to get a tourniquet, get it on the leg to help control bleeding, and then, of course, as soon as the Portland Fire and Rescue and AMR paramedics got there, they were able to help with advanced medical care and get that victim to the hospital, and he's going to be okay. But certainly a scary incident. When the officers who were area checking for the suspect located that suspect and got her into custody, they later called in the major crimes unit detectives who were actually came in from home in order to help investigate this case. And they eventually arrested that suspect and booked her into jail on charges of robbery in the first degree and assault in the first degree.
So a couple things here. You said that the two people were initially detained and one was determined not to be involved, and then this other person was involved. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And
And it's
that's and
important to
that's
note, yeah,
and
we're still looking for one suspect. So
okay. And that person that booked had an alias. Is that right? There were two names listed in the release.
right. The suspect goes by the name Jada Wise, but has a different legal name, and so both of those are in the news release. By policy, we're required to use the preferred gender identity of anyone that we're putting their name in a news release. So
Okay.
that's what we did. We put the preferred name, and then the legal name was also added just for clarity's sake.
Okay. And then, as I understand it, there was not just the person who was shot, but there was a woman, a 35-year-old woman who was pistol whipped, and then another person who may have had a scraped neck from some shrapnel. Is that correct?
Yes. So we have three victims. There were three friends that were visiting Portland. They were not from Portland. They were visiting, but they're not from like out of state or anything. They came into to Portland for the evening, and they were robbed by two suspects. During the course of that robbery, the suspect that fired the shot also hit an adult female victim in the head multiple times with the pistol. She was injured, but she declined transport to the hospital. She was just going to self-care later on. Also, the other adult male that was with them, he had a scratch on his neck that was possibly from shrapnel or some kind of flying debris, something like that. We're not 100% sure, but he was fortunately okay as well. But boy, scary situation for these folks. Fortunately, this type of thing is very rare, and we don't see it very often, but that's why we talk about it, because it certainly is an unusual and terrifying experience.
And the investigation is ongoing. You're still looking for a second suspect, correct?
Yeah, so our investigation is far from over. There's quite a bit of investigative work to do. We're looking for a second suspect, and we're hoping that the community may be able to help us with that. We have all I know right now is that second suspect is described as an adult male, and he was said to be armed with a firearm. So we're hoping that anybody with information will reach out to us. We have an email that we put in our news release that people can email with information, and hopefully we can also get the second person into custody.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Sergeant Kevin Allen with the Portland Police Bureau. Appreciate it very much. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Tim.